All right. Good day to you. We're here to talk about things that are happening in this country, in this world. And we'd like to talk about a little bit more because there's something going on. We're going to find out on the safari adventure. And I'm kind of, a little bit there. So let's check it out, see what's going on here. All right. Well, what's this?
If we don't have the use of tariffs, we have no national security. This country will have no financial security, will not have national security. And the people that brought the lawsuit are people that are aligned with foreign nations that are now being treated fairly as opposed to just ripping us off and ripping us asunder.
No.
So, but if we are not allowed to use what other people use against us, there's no defense. It'll be a disaster for America. That's why I think I'm going to go to the Supreme Court to watch it. I've not done that, and I had some pretty big cases. I think it's one of the most important cases ever brought because we will be defenseless against the world. And if we don't have the use,
let's stop that right there. He's an idiot, and somebody should probably tell him that. Anyways, next up, we got some shit going on here. Let's see what's going on here. What's that? Oh, she looks kind of stoned. Kind of stoned and drunk. Trust me, I would know. You can trust me here on the safari adventure. Right there, that face, stoned, drunk. But we trust her. CNN fake news, apparently. Let's check it out. What's fake about it? Let's see what's happening here. Click on the play button there and...
This is one of the most significant cases that the justices have decided in recent years. Here, the Supreme Court ruling that President Trump's use of these emergency tariffs that he has implemented are illegal. It's the most significant economic case to reach the high court in years, sweeping implications for the economy and, of course, for presidential power. And at stake.
Let's say this first and foremost. It took them long enough. They saw what was happening. Come on, let's get real. A year of this. April was the Liberation Day, Isolation Day. It took them that long to rule on this. That's how you know their priorities are set. Anyways, let's continue on.
Stake here are billions of dollars in revenue that have already been collected by the government. Pamela Wolf, the other significance here is that this is the first time that the 6-3 conservative court has ruled against President Trump in one of these major cases that have gone before the court since he returned to power in January. Now, we are still
a lot of words on the screen, but
case.
We're here for it.
This is something we have been waiting for. The court said that it would take up this case on an expedited basis. So they're deciding, even though it's a significant case now, because of course
a year later, expedited.
Now with our team, another outstanding question is what now happens to all that revenue that had been collected? This is something that it really wasn't clear from the arguments what they would say about that, if they're going to lay out a plan. So we will continue to go through this. But this is an enormous decision and a rare loss for President Trump before this conservative court.
Here's why your knee pain keeps coming back. And the easiest way to fix it without pills, shots.
Okay, let's talk about this real quick. AI ads on YouTube. That is crazy. It just shows you how little they give about what is this?
What's for surgery. I'm going to show you something about your knee that most doctors never explain, and it could save you from years of agony. Look closely at this knee model. Your kneecap doesn't work like a simple hinge. It rides in a precise C-shaped track called the trochlear groove.
Okay, never mind. I've seen enough. I don't trust it.
This is, Paula, a major slap at the President of the United States, who has made a major effort over many, many months to impose all of.
By the way, I put on my good outfit here. It's my fit, you've seen it before anyways.
These tariffs, and just to look at some of the background I have here, over these many months, the administration has collected $150 billion in these tariffs. So what happens to that money? Do they have to refund that money to the firms, to the people who paid for those tariffs?
You gotta sue.
That's one of the big questions that came up at arguments.
I looked into it. I'm sorry, you weren't riding the safari at that point, but you gotta sue them.
And it's something that
pay for a attorney.
we're looking through now in this opinion.
America.
The top line is that these are illegal, that the president cannot rely on this 1977 emergency law to impose tariffs without authorization from Congress, because this question is really about the extent of presidential power. And we know in both his terms in office, President Trump has really worked at the edges of what has largely been recognized as executive authority. But in these arguments back in November, they went on for 2.5 hours, it was clear that the justices were skeptical that President Trump could rely on this vague federal law.
All right, Paula, stand by. I know
Thanks,
you're
Paula.
all these.
You're kind of drunk and high. Let's step back a little bit here.
Legal analyst Ellie Honig.
Ellie Honig.
As I said, this is a huge setback for the president of the United States. And this has been a traditionally conservative Supreme Court, but they ruled that all of these tariffs that Trump has imposed over these many months are illegal. It's a big deal.
Well, Wolf, it's a monumental ruling, and the bottom line is that the tariffs Donald Trump announced back in April on Liberation Day are gone. They have been ruled illegal by this U.S. Supreme Court. An interesting array of justices here. In the majority, ruling that the tariffs are illegal is Chief Justice Roberts, Justice Gorsuch, and Justice Amy Coney Barrett, 3 conservatives who teamed up with the 3 liberal justices, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson, to rule these tariffs unconstitutional. The dissenters are Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh. And the basis for the ruling is this: Congress, not the president, Congress typically holds the tariff power. Now, Congress passed this law back in 1977 called the International Economic Emergencies Act, and Donald Trump tried to use that law to say, well, I'm declaring an international economic emergency, therefore I'm imposing tariffs. But the majority here said, no, that law does not authorize you to impose tariffs, and no, there is not a valid international economic emergency here.
Unlawful.
So the end result, and we are still going through this, but the end result is that Donald Trump's tariffs have been struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court. But really important is on this basis, Trump has said...
We got to look for the really important show. Fuck, it's all fucked up. Hold on. You see my tits? Let's get you recentered here. Something really important here we got to figure out, see what's going on.
Been struck down, and we are still going through this, but the end result is that Donald Trump's tariffs have been struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court. But really important point I want to make, Donald Trump has said, various White House officials have said, if he loses on this basis, he will try to re-implement other tariffs through other laws, which he can try to do. However, those other laws are much more restrictive. They would not allow him to apply the type of sweeping, massive, across the globe tariffs that he tried to impose here, but have now been struck down. Look, Donald Trump said these tariffs are the single most important thing he has done in his presidency. He said that, and now they've been struck down by the court.
Too bad,
you're right.
man.
The administration has made clear that if the court strikes this down, that they'll look at other tariff authorities to use. But bottom line here, Ellie, how big of a mess does this ruling create?
It's a mess. Ew, stinky mess.
It's hard to think of a case.
Here's a drunk high bit, lady. One
of those conservatives, right, Paula?
That's right. Well, this is Chief Justice John Roberts, who wrote the majority opinion where the court agreed.
She's a fine, established woman. Okay, I'm too far gone. Let's keep going.
6-3, that President Trump's tariffs exceed his power under the law. He wrote, quote, "The president asserts the extraordinary power to unilaterally impose tariffs of unlimited amount, duration, and scope in light of the breadth, history, and constitutional context of that asserted."
Hold on, we got some interference here. Who's talking in there?
Extraordinary power to unilaterally impose tariffs of unlimited amount, duration, and scope in light of the breadth, history, and constitutional context of that asserted.
That would be so distracting. That's like me talking while the video is playing.
Authority, he must identify.
That would be just stupid.
By clear congressional authorization to exercise it. And we knew that the Chief Justice would be a key vote after what we saw at arguments. Now, we are still going through this. I want to show you, this is about a third of the opinion. It's 170 pages long. This is just a fraction of it. Wow. So we're going through it very carefully to try to understand what, if anything, the court said about what happens to all that revenue the government has already collected. I know that's a big question right now. We are carefully going through this.
Quick question. Or does it take a few days?
What's his question here?
That's what we're working to figure out right now.
What's his question?
And quick question from me, Paula. Do the tariffs immediately go away as of right now? Or does it take a few days or at least maybe a few weeks for them to be removed?
It took a few days. Short story short. All right, that's what's going on there.
Watch what exercise does to
more
aging
AI. More AI. They gotta stop that shit.
This is a muscle killer. This is a muscle killer.
I can't.
And this is a muscle killer.
Oh, Barilla. Hey, 13 WMAZ. What up, dude? Hey. Somebody. No, that's not true. Everybody's going to drop their prices.
And one day after the Supreme Court struck down President Trump's sweeping tariffs, the fallout continues. Trump announced plans to raise the global tariffs he imposed Friday to an additional 5%.
Thanks, Trump.
Saturday, he will increase the global tariffs his administration imposed on Friday from 10% to the fully allowed and legally tested 15% level. The president's announcement comes one day after the Supreme Court struck down his sweeping tariffs. In a 6-3 decision, justices ruled the president does not have the authority to impose tariffs under the emergency powers law he used to levy taxes on nearly all U.S. trading partners. The president lashed out at the high court.
I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. They're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats.
Wow. No regard for the Supreme Court. Nice, dude. Lutnick. I almost forgot his name because everybody's calling him Nutlick, and I like that. So I'm here for it.
That foreign interests could have influenced the court.
It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think.
Very well said.
Outrage, Democratic leaders backed the ruling.
Trump's tariff tax was illegal, and the courts agreed. And let's call these tariffs for what they are, a tax on the American people.
There's that guy who still votes to kill Gaza people and bomb Gaza, so we like him, right? Anyways, what does he say here?
Of one of the primary reasons for our country's stunning economic turnaround, the biggest in history, where the Dow Jones broke 50,000 4 years ahead of schedule, and the S&P at 7,000.
Cut to Pam Bondi. She loves that one. She's a freaking meme now.
Where it wasn't supposed to.
In the worst way possible.
Do it for many
years. Click it again. Oh, hold on. What's he saying? Huh?
What? Tariffs. Tariffs.
There we go.
I use these tariffs to hundreds of billions of dollars to make great deals for our country, both economically and on a national security basis.
All right,
Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. They were ripping us.
How can they just sit by and listen to this guy talk lies? That's crazy to me, man.
So badly, you all know that. Everybody knows it. Even the Democrats know it. They just don't want to say it.
What did he say?
And then
Hold on.
And they're happy. They're not making money like they used to, but we're making a lot of money. There was no inflation, tremendous growth, and the big story.
No inflation.
Was how Donald Trump called the economy correctly.
The biggest story.
And 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics didn't. They got it totally wrong.
22 Nobel Prize winners in economics got totally wrong. This is from our president's mouth, bro. Wow.
They got it really wrong.
They got it wrong.
And then
the experts got it wrong, people. It was all Trump. He just knows.
Just 4 days ago, an unfortunate ruling from the United States Supreme Court. It just came down. It came down.
Supreme what?
Ruling from the United States Supreme Court. It just came down. It came down.
Yep.
Very unfortunate ruling.
Yeah, the Supreme Court.
It just came down.
Is that Supreme Court? All right, that's the Supreme Court. Yep. There's that guy.
But
there's that guy.
The good news is that almost all.
Oh wow! Look at those guys. There's that guy too. Okay. All these guys, people.
But the good news is that almost all countries and
the A1 steak sauce lady.
Corporations.
That's what I call her.
Want to keep the deal that they already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as
Scott Bessent, that guy,
have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement. So despite the
unfortunate involvement of the Supreme Court in the United States of America, dude. My flag is about to fall off. What's going on here, man? Hey, get back in there. It'll be all right.
Disappointing ruling. These powerful, country saving. It's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in. Peace protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And they have been tested for a long time. They're a little more complex, but they're actually probably better, leading to a solution that will be even stronger than before. Congressional action will not be necessary. It's already time-tested and approved. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace.
Hold on, what did he say there? I'm kind of curious about that little tidbit. This is the president of the United States and all the cronies who suckle his thingy.
And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will.
Wrong, but okay. Thanks, dude.
Will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people I love.
Then they all stand and clap. That is disgraceful, dude. Oh, my goodness. Are they really that out of touch? That's too bad, man. That's who's running our country right now. What's next? Hear that?
Over the past 36 hours.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He bombed Iran because of Epstein's files and stuff.
The United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. It was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes.
This is crazy.
Iran's formerly supreme leader.
Do they not have anybody who edits this video? Dude.
They will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We a baseball nation would my first term.
Okay, so the draft dodger is talking about war. What's that one song by CCR? To wave the flag, who? They're red, white, and blue. And when the band plays Hail to the Chief, ooh, they point the cannon at you, Lord. It ain't me, it ain't me. I ain't no senator's son. It ain't me, it ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one, no. Some folks are born with a silver spoon in hand. But when the taxman come to the door, Lord, the house looking like a rummage sale. It ain't me. I ain't no millionaire's son. They send you down to war. And when you ask them how much we should give, they only answer more, more, more. Wise words from CCR. A lot of fans of CCR would fail to recognize the lyrics and what they mean. We don't have to go into that. That's okay. But I gotta pee really bad. Bye.
They cared more about being part of the Epstein class than they did about the working class girls who were being. They were begging this guy to invite them to his parties, to his home, to his island. And that's what's sick. Like, how did we produce an elite like that? They need to be torn down.
Whenever you brought forth the Disclosure Act, what was the first reaction of the DOJ? Wasn't it pretending that there were no files to begin with?
They fought us every step of the way. They said Massey and I are cranks, that we're conspiracy theorists, that we have no idea what we're talking about.
There was no client list.
There is no credible information. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday.
We got Lauren.
Don't sue me, Andrew. I love your channel, and I've been watching since All Gas, No Brakes.
Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace to stand with us. They threatened them. They chased Marjorie Taylor Greene out of Congress. They called Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room, where the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and others said, get off Conner and Massey's discharge petition. They intimidated folks. Then when we got it passed, they went in a full court press to try to get every Republican to vote against it. And Massey and I had 70 Republicans willing to vote against Donald Trump. He saw the writing on the wall, so he said, okay, I'll sign the bill. Then they tried to get it amended in the Senate. No senator was willing to stand up for these pedophiles, so they couldn't get it amended. But we fought, we got it passed. So then what did they do? They thought, okay, we'll just do a meaningless dump on December 19th. They'll keep quiet. But we didn't. We said this is total BS. And so then we pushed, and now finally they've done a
Thank you.
Real release of the files. I mean, they still have 50% of the most nuclear stuff, but now they've exposed it. Now everyone sees that there are a bunch of rich and powerful people who are above the law in America, and that there are two tiers of justice, and that these are some of the most connected people. They're the ones who give money to politicians. Why do you think people didn't want to do what Massey and I did? Because you're offending the donors in this country. If you want to be in politics, you probably don't want to offend the billionaires. And that's why this thing has been hidden for decades. That's why Democrats and Republicans didn't expose this. Let's just be honest. It wasn't just a Trump thing. There were administration after administration that wanted to protect these people.
Definitely,
and they're
sir.
still protecting some of them.
Epstein class, that's what we've heard. He says it, and he coined the term, him with Massey, as the truth, okay? We're not part of the Epstein class. We're not the fortunate ones. CCR was right, okay? Let's get it right, dude. Anyways, I pee really bad. So let's go next thing. Oh, man. We got this top from Canada. Okay. Justice Department withheld and removed some Epstein files related to Trump. So our president is implicated, and NPR just broke loose that this is an active cover-up, actively being covered up by the DOJ. That's a goddamn shame, man. The Justice Department has withheld some Epstein files related to allegations that President Trump abused a minor, an NPR investigation finds. It also removed some documents from the public database where accusations against Jeffrey Epstein also mentioned Trump. Some files have not been made public despite a law mandating their release. Against the law? Yes. These include what appear to be more than 50 pages of FBI interviews, as well as notes from conversations with a woman who accused Trump of abuse decades ago when she was a minor. NPR reviewed multiple sets of unique serial numbers appearing before and after the pages in question, stamped onto documents into the Epstein files database. FBI case records, emails, and discovery document logs in the latest tranche of documents published at the end of January. NPR's investigation found dozens of pages that appear to be cataloged but not shared publicly. Oh, shoot. I gotta pee really bad. So they're actively covering it up. Read the article. It's right here. I'll put it in the description. Maybe. I don't know. I gotta pee really bad. But, hey, man, thanks for joining me on the safari adventure. And we hope to see you again soon. And I'll be more active, maybe. I don't know. I kind of like to do music, too. Bandcamp up. Get snoddy.bandcamp.com. It's all about lamb snod. It's all about experimental music to confuse the AI algorithm. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me on the safari adventure. We're going to see you later, and I got to pee really bad. Bye.